Pleased to be joined by Jack Miller, former St. John Titan, former Michigan Wolverine. It's been a while. Thank you for coming back.
Sure.
High school basketball, big week this weekend. But one more time, we got to go back. Last weekend, the biggest moment of Friday night was this.
For all the marbles, Washington gets the inbound pass with 3, a half-court heave. It's good!
Are you kidding me? Oh, my!
Okay, that was Jack Miller on the call. Jack, I'm guessing by the call, you were pretty excited.
Yeah, absolutely. It was crazy. It was awesome. I mean, when you get to call a game, obviously a privilege and an honor to get to do something like that. And when you get to do a game like that, it's all the more exciting when you don't feel like you're really working. You're sitting there just watching the game, enjoying it. And then something like that happens. A great win for Bowser and just a really, really special game.
You worked it with Kevin Peel. I mean, you didn't play it, but you call it, and I've called a number of games. When you get a game like that, you're walking out there, you're feeling pretty good, aren't you?
Yeah, you're on a high for sure.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, one of the teams obviously goes home disappointed, but being at home, the feel in that gym the whole night was exciting, and certainly leaving, everybody was on a high note.
Yeah, well, next time you call a game, we ask for the same type of venue. Okay, all right, switching to college football, not a lot happening right now, kind of a dead period, but there is work going on right now, right? Yeah,
it's probably the biggest work of the entire season with winter conditioning, and it's a grind. It really is. Guys are getting up at 6 a.m., and you have team activities, and it's probably the time of year where you talk about mental toughness and starting to form the bonds that will go into the season, go into the summer, go into training camp and all that kind of stuff. So it's an important time of year. Totally gets overlooked. All anyone wants to talk about with football right now is recruiting, and obviously that's important with signing day coming up and whatnot. But what's going on in those programs right now, the cohesion, the toughness, trying to get bigger, faster, stronger, all that stuff, that's what you end up seeing in the fall, and it's happening right now.
I want to take a little bit of advantage of you being here, former Division I athlete, former Michigan Wolverine, Big Ten. Obviously, the story around the sports world is what is happening in Michigan State. Is this what's happening at Michigan State? Does this kind of thing happen everywhere, and is it something that maybe we don't see as often as it does?
Well, I hope not, right? I mean, that's the answer we all hope for, is you hope that this kind of thing isn't going on as much as it is. You know, right now, Michigan State's in the crosshairs. Unfortunately, probably somebody else will be in the crosshairs in a couple months from now. But when you're in those situations, when you have that kind of notoriety, when you have that kind of pedestal that you're placed on and people look up to you, there's a certain standard and there's an expectation that comes with that. And when you don't live up to that expectation, there are consequences, and that's what we're seeing right now.
Sure, and without naming names or specific situations, did your team have to deal with that, or people you knew or played with?
It goes on. When I was at Michigan and Brady was there, he had a no-tolerance policy for that kind of stuff. So the minute that anybody got any hunch that something like that was going on, the player was immediately dismissed from the team. And if criminal action needed to take place, prosecution, then it did. So we didn't deal with that. I haven't seen a lot of that firsthand. Unfortunately, I think there has been a culture where sometimes things get swept under the rug for the benefit of communities and teams and programs and organizations, but that's coming to an end, as it should, I think. When you're in these situations, when you're a part of that, you need to handle it 100% the right way. And in the day and age of political correctness, if you don't, it'll cost you.
Appreciate you talking about that. Obviously, a sensitive subject all over, so let's get you out on a little bit lighter topic. Big game this weekend. There is a Michigan alum who has a prominent role. Were there any Michigan guys, Big Ten guys playing in the Super Bowl that you knew or played with?
Yeah, I mean, the sports community is a small world, right? Everyone kind of knows each other, and so, guys like Tom Brady or Brandon Graham for the Eagles, two guys that are actively involved in Michigan and are back there a lot. So, know them, and then a lot of peripheral guys, right, who you played against, friends of through mutual schools and whatnot, who people grew up together. So there's a lot of, polls that say, I pull for this guy, I pull for that guy, I want to see this happen. But I think it'll be a good game. I think you're crazy if you bet against Tom Brady and the Patriots right now. I mean, that guy is, I think he is the greatest of all time, and just absolutely, totally embodies what it's like to be a winner on and off the field.
Did Brady, you mentioned Brady comes back, and he does. Did he ever come back while you were there and talk to the team?
Yeah,
he did. Do you remember that and what he said?
I do, yeah. He came back during training camp one year, gave a great speech, and said to us that of all his athletic accomplishments, being named captain at Michigan was the greatest one he'd ever achieved. And it was special to sit in Schembechler Hall and hear a guy with those kind of credentials and those kind of accolades say something like that. It was pretty special for Michigan and represents, I think, what that university means to a lot of people inside and outside of it.
Man, great stuff. Not hard to see why we brought him on as a part of the BCSN family. Jack Miller, former Michigan Wolverine, St. John Titan, thank you so much. We'll see you next time.